Hey guys, Darkovika here. And I know this lighting looks absolutely garbage, and I look like I'm in just the darkness. We don't really have lamps for our room yet, so this is about as light as it's gonna get. I wanted to actually talk to you guys about something that I haven't talked about in a really, really long time. And that is like this horrible phobia that I've always had since I was a kid when I was in a really, really nasty car accident. And I just have a massive phobia of cars and specifically driving. And for the longest time, I avoided driving like absolutely crazy. And this is one of those phobias that, depending on where you live, people just don't really get it. Driving has become such like a major expectation and a way of life that people who hear you say that you are afraid of driving or that you can't drive, usually there's a lot of judgment that comes with that. People will treat you very differently, or they'll tell you, well, you just need to get over it, or they'll tell you things like, well, you're an adult, you need to drive. And if anything, I think that made it worse. So if anybody, I mean, like, I kind of bring that up because, like, it used to piss me off so much when people would give me that because, like, I get where they're coming from. Driving is a huge part of our lives, and especially if you want to have kids, you have to be able to, in an emergency, got to be able to drive and take them where they need. You can't call Uber if your kid needs to go to the hospital because they broke a leg. Like, not really a thing. So I get where people come from with the whole, like, if you say you're afraid of driving, people automatically assume that you're just, I don't know, a non-functioning adult or that you need to quote unquote grow up. But it used to hurt a lot because people don't treat it like a real phobia. People don't really understand. They're just like, well, you need to drive, so tough it out, time to grow up. And you're like, okay, first of all, I don't think you see me when I get behind the wheel. It was so bad that I used to break down into panic attacks where I couldn't breathe. Which is not great for driving. Let me tell you, it's not conducive to driving safely if you're sitting there breathing like you're about to pass out and you've turned white as a ghost and you are literally hyperventilating. It's not healthy. It's not a great place to be for driving, which requires all of your concentration and a great deal of confidence. I still to this day get very scared. I'll come to that in a minute, but like, I want people to understand that this isn't just like, oh, I don't want to drive, oh, I just want people to drive me around. It's not that, okay? It's not that. It is, even if someone else is driving, you are still sitting there somewhat terrified constantly. And if they swerve or anything happens, you're done. You no longer possess the ability to pretend that you're safe and fine. You are just scared for the rest of the ride. Or if you're really unlucky, for weeks. I was in a really disgusting car accident when I was a kid. I mean, like, the car was totaled. It got sent to it was just trash. It became parts. That was how bad our car accident was. And it was because a person decided they wanted to turn right from the left turn lane. He tried to sue us. That was the stupidest. We won. But duh. But it was dumb. And to top it off, like, on top of everything, I actually cracked my tailbone. Gotta tell ya, you don't realize how much you sit and how much you need your butt until you can't sit. Because your tailbone, literally going to the movies was impossible. I couldn't sit. It was like torture. I had to go to physical therapy, which was humiliating. Let me just, your butt's broken, okay? It sucks. It's not amazing. It sounds awful, and it's even worse than it sounds. You can't sit in classrooms. You're literally like 8-hour day. I was in middle school and it was 8-hour days. I had to stand in the back of class. Middle school's not great when you got to go into class and be like, yo, my butt's broken. Okay. It was a bad time all around. And then to make that worse, while I was like, I didn't feel anything right off the bat because adrenaline and shock had hit me because we got smashed. They had to bring the jaws of life to get my mom out of the driver's seat. chalk that up for a 12, 13-year-old to be watching from the sidelines. Your mother's trapped in a car. The police won't let you near said car because, I mean, obviously. So you're being watched by two random police officers you don't know on a corner of a street while they, rip the doors off of your totaled trash car, and your mother is unable to move her neck. So yeah, I have a phobia of driving. So, I mean, like, that was why I would get so terrified when I would get behind the wheel. And people just, I don't know what it was. It made me so angry. Like, on top of the humiliation of being like, yo, I can't drive. Like, can I have a ride? I had to ask for rides for years because I legitimately could not drive anything but, okay. To start with, I took driving lessons, and my first lesson, my instructor brought me back home, took one look at me and said, "You've been in a car accident." And I was like, "How do you know?" And he goes, "Well, for starters, your arms were like this the whole time, and you looked like you were gonna die." And I was like, I mean... So after that, I had another driving instructor because he did nothing to alleviate that. Like, I got a license. I mean, I didn't get my license yet, but I mean, like... Nah, I was still scared. I had another driving instructor who worked really hard to kind of get me out of it, and he helped a lot because he would have me go into empty parking lots and do things like donuts, like just really weird things that you don't normally do, like swerving. He had me go down hills and hit the gas, and then I had to slam on the brakes so that I could feel what that felt like. And surprisingly, that helped a lot because it got me used to the feeling so that I wasn't scared of it. It's kind of like when you're ice skating. You're afraid of falling up until you fall and you realize it's not that bad. It was kind of the same thing. So like a lot of that really helped me to get away from that total fear. But even then, for years, like it was really bad. There was a period of time after I moved out where I took Uber to work every day. I know. What a waste. But anyways, it was like how I got over that phobia. The reason I'm sharing all of this is because like I'm not over the phobia, but I was thinking about it today and I have come so far, so ridiculously far off of my own willpower, which, let's be honest, is not that great. But like I've come a really long way. Like I used to be unable to drive anything but side streets. If I could not take side streets to my destination, I couldn't do it, and it was just Uber. And with a job, that kind of sucked. That was like $16 a day to get anywhere. God, what a waste. But, it was that or pure unadulterated terror. So a lot of my hard-earned dollars went into just getting to work. And then it was, one day I asked Brent to sit with me in my car. And then I drove to work and then I drove home. He brought the car and I did both ways, and I started with that. And then I can do really well with roads that I have already traveled because I'm like, yeah, I've done this before. I know this. If anything happens, like, it's just like, yeah, I've done this road before. I can usually suss it out pretty well. But then when I hit new things, like there's this one intersection that I've just recently become acquainted with that has like 6 directions. And I'm like, why? Why would you do this? Why would you put 6 directions in an intersection? This is just asking for death. And it's like, if there's a hill too, so you can't really see the outline of your lane. Like people are like, oh, just follow the lines. Look, in Los Angeles, there are a lot of hills in all intersections. Sometimes you can't see the lines. And sometimes there are no lines because nobody paints the dang roads. So you know what? Stick your lines up your butt. Anyways, I'm sorry. It's one of those things. And I mean, maybe in other places driving is not that important. Around here in like Los Angeles, driving is like pivotal. If you don't drive, you're like it's on interviews. Like you'll be hired based on the fact that you bring yourself to work. A lot of people will actually hire you on whether or not you have a car or you have a reliable method of transportation. That's how important driving is in Los Angeles because the bus system is not trustworthy, like at all. I don't know if it's any trustworthy anywhere else, but like no, if you tell people like, oh, I get to work by the bus, your chances of being hired have just dropped. But yeah, I'm able to drive myself basically even to new locations, which is new for me. Like I've never been, but I'm always like, I need someone to be with me in the car, like helping me find this place first. I used to drive to a place before I had to go there. I'd have somebody in the car with me. Like it would be like a test run. If I knew the next day I had to take myself to the doctor, I would go the day before with someone in the car with me so that they could be like my eyes and ears while I learned the route. And then the next day I would feel like I'd already driven, so I wouldn't be as scared. Now I don't even do that anymore. It's great. I could just, I like, if I have to go take something to the post office for Brent, and I've never even been to the post office, I'm like, well, that's fine. I could probably figure it out. And like, I still get very like jittery when I drive. Like I'm hyper aware of everything, which you'd think would be really great while driving, but it just makes you really stressed and anxious constantly while you're driving. Um, and it makes you really jumpy. Like I have really tight swerves and I have really like careful swerves. I've never fully swerved into a lane except one time when a city bus was like, yo, this is my lane now and you just need to move. Uh, City buses do that. I don't know if that's just a Los Angeles thing or what, because out here, the buses bully you. They're like, if you hit me, you're the one who's gonna get pay. You're just gonna have to pay for this. Like, I will smash you, and it'll be your fault. I'm serious. Like, they're scary. Don't fight a bus; it'll hit you. It's like a chihuahua trying to squeeze past a bulldog who's intent on filling up the entire hallway. That's basically it. I had to do some crazy things. I've had some crazy experiences while I was driving. One bicyclist thought he was a car. That was weird. And I remember like all of my near death experiences, which isn't healthy. And one time someone bumped the back of my car. I'm serious. It was a bump. You can see two tiny pinpricks from the nails in their license plate or the screws in their license plate. That was a bump. But inside the car, everything always feels way worse than it actually is. And he popped out to check on me because, he bumped my car, comes up to my door, and I'm sitting there sobbing hysterically. And he was like, oh my God, are you okay? And I was like, I'm fine. I'm just weird. I'm sorry. Like, I was like sobbing so hard. And I was like, I'm fine. I'm fine. And he was like, I just bumped you. You're okay. And I was like, I'm fine. Just let me cry it out. I'll be okay. So like, it's not the best. It's like, I'm not in a perfect situation for it, but like I can drive myself places that I want to go. If I want to go to the bookstore, like I don't need someone to take me anymore. If I want to go to the doctor, it depends on, I can't go into North Hollywood. North Hollywood is scary. Or parts of it is like, I don't know. People just, once you hit North Hollywood, I don't know what it is, but all bets are off. Like people drive insane. And then you leave North Hollywood, the same people suddenly drive safer. I don't know what it is. It's just like a little switch goes off. I'm in North Hollywood, time to drive like an insane person. But like, that's just how it is. It's really bizarre, but, I don't know. I just wanted to share with people. The only thing I could really say is you just have to keep doing it. Like, I hated it, but I needed to go to work. I needed money. Like, I needed to do those things. And the need to do them far outweighed the need to not, I guess. It was terror. It was pure, unadulterated terror that almost caused me to cry on many occasions. Almost got hit by a fire truck once, and that scared the ever-loving daylights out of me. Like, that was bad. And it's not always great. Like, I have relapses sometimes where I am absolutely terrified for an entire car ride, and I get home and I'm like, and the worst part is prepping to go driving because you psych yourself out before the ride. So if I don't think about it, if I'm successful in willpowering myself to not think about the drive, I'm usually fine. Like I have no relapse, I'm fine. If I think about the drive before I get in the car, I start to psych myself out, I start to scare myself, I start to freak myself out, and the whole ride is ruined. Still gotta drive, but I'm still scared. So I just wanted to share that with you guys because I thought, in case anybody else has some crazy phobia or also is just terrified of driving, like, it is a long process. It's been years since I got my license. Like, I think I got my license around like 20. I know, I'm sorry. I think I got my license around the time I was 20. It's been 7 years since I started driving, and I'm still scared, and I still can't do freeways. Haven't touched them. I went on a freeway once. That was awful. I got boxed in by trucks because my car said student driver, and they thought it would be funny to box me in. Can't do freeways. Nope, no freeways. Nope, no, not. I don't know if I'll ever be able to do freeways. I'm probably going to have to learn for said, for the aforementioned reasons previously, like if there's an emergency, taking side streets and main streets to a hospital is not a great situation, but it is what it is. Like, I'm getting there. It's still a work in progress, and it's still many years going, being terrified of driving. But it's just something that I do every single day, and I'm constantly doing it. And I'm constantly putting myself literally in the line of fire of one of my biggest phobias. And every day it gets a little bit easier. Like, I can listen to music while I drive, and sometimes I'll zone out. I mean, not to say I'm not paying attention. I'm constantly aware of everything. But sometimes it just feels like the car rides go really quickly, and suddenly I'm home, and it's like, oh wow, I don't even remember half of that ride, but everything is fine, and there were no incidents, and it's great. And it's like that level of comfort that's starting to come more and more as I get used to driving, and it's something that's possible. Like, it can feel like the biggest weight on your chest. I literally would have absolute breakdowns. I would cry before having to drive places. I would have to sit and I would have to pull over sometimes and just hyperventilate. I found out I could still parallel park. That was a victory. I didn't know I could still parallel park, and I pulled that off. I've pulled that off 3 times beautifully, with pure perfection. And I was like, dang, for someone who can't drive and is an absolute menace with terror, I do pretty all right. So, no accidents, no tickets. I've never been pulled over. I've never even had cops look in my direction. Like I said, it's a work in progress. And I think all phobias kind of are. Fears that run that deep, I don't know if you ever really get rid of them, but I know eventually you become familiar. I can say this from my own experience. And if someone tells you that they have an absolute phobia and they are terrified of something, don't tell them to grow up. It's shitty. Pardon my French, but it's shitty. And it makes them feel like they're stupid. And it makes them feel useless and broken. Okay? It's not great. It doesn't make them want to be like, oh, wow, I am suddenly inspired to be a functioning human being. No, it doesn't. It doesn't help at all. It makes things worse. Okay? If you have nothing nice to say, don't say it. Just say, I don't know how to help you. I don't know what you're feeling. I can't understand that. It's better. Okay? It's my 2 cents. 1, for the people who have phobias, it's okay. It's something you can work through. It takes a long time and a lot of willpower, and it's not easy. It's never easy. It is literally heart-throbbingly scary every single time, especially in the beginning. It's hard. It hurts. It's not something where you do it and you're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, that was great right after it. No. It's hard, but it is worthwhile. It's completely worth it, because you, in the long run, you start to feel really, really good every time you get in, and you're like, I know I can do this. I'm legitimately capable of telling myself now, I know I can handle it. And that feeling is completely irreplaceable. Even with the fear, I close my eyes and I say, I've handled worse. I know I can do it. If it was the freeway, maybe not. But I've found myself in situations where I was like, there are 14 billion signs. There's 6 different traffic lights. What am I supposed to do? And then I'm like, oh, I'll figure it out. And I do. You just do. And it's possible. And then for the people who don't have phobias and don't know what I'm talking about, please, don't do the thing. Don't tell people to grow up. There is no such thing as growing up. It's just experiences. It's a lie. It's a sham. Okay? You just learn how to do things. Being an adult is a lie. There are no adults. There are only people who are forced responsibilities and then figure out how to do them. That's it. I don't know. That's my 2 cents. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I hope it gave some of you some courage to face your fears. It's a constant fight. It's not. I mean, don't let anybody tell you like it's easy. It's something that you have to really want to do, and you have to build yourself up on a need, like the need to get to work, the need to eat. You just have to remind yourself, I need to get there. Like, I need to do this. It's a life or death situation. It really comes down. You have to be like, it's a life or death situation. If I don't get in that car and drive, I'm going to die. Eventually. Starvation. Los Angeles sucks. All right. Anyways, sorry. No, it doesn't. I love my home, but sometimes it sucks a little bit. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Let me know in the comment section if this helped you. Let me know if you're just like, grow up. I'll yell at you. No, I'm just kidding. Lucian. No. All right, I'll see you guys next time.